Live, you're watching Fox 44 News First at 9, your local news leader.
Well, good evening to you. I'm Deon Guillory. Thank you for joining us for Fox 44 News First at 9. Well, all eyes are on tonight's college football championship game. The LSU Tigers taking on the Clemson Tigers right down the street in New Orleans. Tonight we have crews at watch parties throughout the capital city. We start with Jonah Gilmore at the grind with fans watching the game. And Jonah, the Tigers, the LSU Tigers that is, just scored a touchdown, so the fans are pretty excited out there.
Yeah, Deon, and after that touchdown, the crowd here went crazy. There's a lot of people here at the ground. Just take a look at these people. There are a ton of people that are over here that are eating and drinking and just watching the TV. On this side of the room, there are non-monitors, so everyone get a view of the football game. And if you just take a look right here, you can see there are people that are surrounding this bar all night. They have been drinking, they've been eating, they've been celebrating the Tigers as they take on Clemson in the college football national championship. Now it's been a lot of things going on. There's music, there's actually a live DJ. So when the game is on pause, the DJ cranks it up just like you would be at the game. We've been talking to a lot of people here all night. One guy said the team got off to a slow start, but the team has been building that momentum throughout the night.
We have the momentum. I know the dome is going crazy, but this atmosphere that we have in here is just as good. So yeah, I'm hyped. Like at first we was lit down because we was fighting for field position. But once we finally flipped the field position, got us some room to work with, we are hyped now.
And you can see those fans in that video jumping up and down, screaming every time the Tigers score. And right now, LSU is up 21-17. We're hoping to keep that lead and bring that trophy home here to Baton Rouge. But that's all for me right now. From the ground, reporting live, Jonah Gilmore, Fox 44 News.
Just said that game score is really close, so fans all throughout the city are watching this game with some anticipation. Fox 44's Kennedy Walker is with those fans at Red Stick Social. Kennedy.
Good evening, Deon. I'm live at the Red Stick Social, and as you can see, these Tiger fans behind me, they are going crazy. The Tigers, they are leading, and I'm just going to let you guys see right now how all these Tiger fans, they've been loud all night long. I spoke to one of the directors who said that this night is a night that they've been looking for since before they could even remember, literally since the first game. She said she knew that they were going to be going to the championship. Right now the score is Clemson 17, LSU 21. And actually, Deon, they're not the only ones that are going Tiger crazy. I'm going to turn around so that y'all can see my jacket. Do you see that? I am all tigered out as well. But back to you, Deon, reporting live at the Red Stick Social. Kennedy Walker, Fox 44 News.
All right, Kennedy's roaring for a win there. All right, let's talk about a little weather now, because if you've looked outside in the last couple of hours, you probably couldn't see much because we are now under a dense fog advisory that could affect some early morning plans. Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel is here. And Jesse, bring down the timeline of just how long all this fog will last.
Yeah, Deon, obviously, I think a lot of people got their attention focused on the TV screens, but if you notice outside, if you had a chance to look outside recently, you see that visibility is extremely poor at this hour. You can barely see across the street from our tower cam. We're trying to look across Perkins Road here. You can't even see Perkins Road out there. So again, it is definitely going to be a rough day on the roads, and overall, visibility doesn't get any better for those coming back from New Orleans this evening. Also very mild tonight. Luckily for us, I think a lot of those showers have lifted out of here. It's now 65. We got those winds out of the east-southeast at about 9, and I think those winds will eventually die down by early morning. But as you see here, we've got a dense fog advisory from now. And this is for all of South Louisiana until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning before that fog eventually begins to lift at this point. And that may even take a little bit longer. That fog is just kind of hanging around, and I don't see it quickly getting out of here anytime soon. So take a look at the current visibility across the area. Half mile in Hammond, down to a quarter of a mile in New Orleans. We've got some tower cam shots, some DOT camera shots of the Bonnet-Carré Spillway, and you can barely see the lights of the cars going back and forth, eastbound and westbound. And you see here about a half mile in Baton Rouge and roughly about a half mile over in Acadiana. And yes, it could drop to a quarter of a mile or even less, zero visibility for some locations. So we are going to stay pretty warm out there. We're going to keep those temperatures in the 60s 60s, eventually maybe even dipping into the upper 50s. But we've got a very mild forecast ahead of us. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Dion.
All right, Jesse. Well, developing now, a former Baton Rouge police officer could face charges accused of lying about 2 separate shootings. Tonight, one lawyer says he believes there's enough evidence to charge him. It's been nearly a year since former Baton Rouge police officer Yusef Hamadeh resigned from the department. Now he could soon face charges. Hamadeh will face a grand jury after he was accused of lying about 2 separate shootings. One of them happened in 2017 when Hamadeh said Jordan Frazier pointed a gun at him. Investigators say Hamadeh shot back, killing Frazier. A year later, he accused Raheem Howard of shooting at him during a chase. Howard was arrested, but the charges were dropped when investigators found that Hamadeh was reportedly the only one who fired a shot. Howard's lawyer, Ronald Haley, says his client is happy the case is taking this next step.
He has been adamant from the beginning that he wants some sort of charges brought against Officer Hamadeh for what he did to him that day, and the false charges that placed on him, the time he had to spend in jail due to those false charges placed on him.
Hamadeh was then fired from the department. He later won an appeal, which then led to Police Chief Murphy Paul striking a deal to have Hamadeh resign to keep him from returning to the department. Haley says he's happy with the DA's decision to bring the cases to a grand jury.
It's enough for some charges to be brought. What those charges are, that's be up to the district attorney's office and what they present. But I do believe that there's been enough to warrant prosecution.
Haley says the grand jury will meet on Thursday about the Frazier case and then again on January 23rd, that's a week from Thursday, for the Raheem Howard case. Well, term 2 is underway for Governor John Bel Edwards. He took his oath this afternoon outside a wet state capitol, pledging to build on the work of term 1. Fox 44's Harrison Golden unpacks the governor's goals and challenges state leaders see ahead.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you
My
very
privilege.
much, Chief.
My privilege.
Governor John Bel Edwards and hundreds of elected officials, dignitaries, and Louisiana civilians braved the high noon rains as the sun rose on a second term.
You know, in some cultures, rain is a sign of good luck and blessing. I'm going to accept that today.
As Louisiana's first Democratic governor to win a second straight term since the 1970s, Edwards made his remarks part celebration of the past 4 years and a to-do list for the next 4.
And I stand here with you today in the drizzling rain, asking you to join me.
Noting that last term's 7 special sessions are done and the revenue gaps filled, he owes that to bipartisanship he hopes will remain, as lawmakers just before his speech named Republican Clay Scheck-Snyder their new Speaker of the House and Republican Paige Cortez Senate President.
And I'm the very first to acknowledge that challenges remain, because there are still too many people living in poverty without adequate access to the opportunities needed to succeed.
The governor's pitch for higher teacher pay and early education channeled the last Democrat to hold his seat, the late Kathleen Babineau-Blanco.
You know, a great Louisianan often said that education is poverty's mortal enemy. She was right.
The governor ending with words about higher education. Well, sort of. Voicing plans to cheer on LSU with a seat at the Superdome just a few hours later.
God bless you all. God bless the great state of Louisiana. God bless the United States of America. And go Tigers. Let's go.
Harrison Golden, your local election headquarters.
Among those at today's inauguration, former Governors Edwin Edwards and Bobby Jindal and U.S. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. Well, the Senate is gearing up to vote on the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal, but some lawmakers are already preparing for what happens once that deal passes. Texas Congressman Henry Queller says trade between the U.S. and Mexico is expected to increase by 5% every year under the new deal.
We see more to 14 to 16,000 trailers a day. You're talking about, times where it could go from $1.3 billion to $1.7 billion every single day.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she will send the articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump to the Senate sometime this week. And Democrats are still pushing for President Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton to testify in the Senate impeachment trial. As Fox 44's Washington correspondent Morgan Wright explains, one person plans to block Bolton from testifying.
As the Senate impeachment trial against President Trump takes shape, Democrats aren't giving up their demands for new witnesses. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer has his sights set on one person in particular, President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton.
No trial will be a fair trial without witnesses and documents, and John Bolton is a key witness.
We're not asking for them to come in and testify about something that is extraneous or irrelevant. We're talking about relevant information.
Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey says Bolton could have firsthand knowledge of the president's actions to withhold aid from Ukraine in exchange for dirt on a political rival.
I don't know if John Bolton has evidence that is exculpatory for the president. In other words, that benefits the president. We don't know that.
But so far, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has no plans to call witnesses.
Bolton has said he would testify if he was subpoenaed by the Senate, but President Trump has said he would invoke executive privilege to block such testimony from happening.
He would know nothing about what we're talking about.
He should be subpoenaed, and if he is subpoenaed, executive privilege won't stop him.
Even some Republicans, like Utah Senator Mitt Romney, support hearing from Bolton.
The Clinton impeachment process allowed for witnesses to be determined after the opening arguments. I'm comfortable with that process.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Morgan Wright.
Well, fuel check, a look at gas prices around the capital city. Hey, we're just getting started here. That more when Fox 44 News First at 9 returns.